Picture this, it's the 3rd of the month, your paycheck just hit your account. For about 48 hours, you feel like a functioning adult. You pay your rent, you transfer something to savings, maybe $200, maybe $3. You tell yourself this is the month you finally get ahead. Then life happens. The car needs an oil change, a friend's birthday dinner, that Amazon purchase you don't even remember clicking. And by the 20th, you're doing the math in your head at the grocery store, swapping name-brand pasta for the store version, wondering how someone making decent money still feels this broke. Here's the part that should keep you awake tonight. You're not making one mistake, you're making the same mistake. Every single month. On repeat. Like clockwork. And the terrifying thing is that this mistake is so normalized, so deeply woven into how most Americans handle money, that it doesn't even feel like a mistake. It feels like Tuesday. According to Federal Reserve data, the median retirement savings for American households is $87,000. $87,000. That's the middle point, meaning half of all Americans have less than that. Meanwhile, the average American will earn somewhere between $1.50 and $2 million over their working lifetime. We're talking about people who earned $2 million and retired with $87,000 to show for it. The math on that is not a tragedy. It's a pattern. And patterns have causes. The cause isn't a bad economy, although that doesn't help. It isn't bad luck, although that plays a role. The cause is a single structural mistake that most people make every single month, without realizing it. And it's destroying their financial future so gradually, so quietly, that they never see it coming until the damage is already done. My name is Ava, and I've spent 17 years in investment banking and accounting watching brilliant, hardworking people make good money and end up with almost nothing. Engineers, teachers, marketing directors, people who work long hours, who aren't reckless, who aren't gambling their paycheck in Vegas, people who genuinely believe they're doing okay. If this video makes something click for you, if it changes the way you think about the next paycheck that hits your account, hit that like button and subscribe, because what I'm about to show you is worth more than any raise you'll get this year. The mistake defining the problem. The mistake doesn't have a dramatic name. There's no villain, no predatory lender, no stock market crash, no inheritance that never came. The mistake is simply this. You save what's left. Read that again. You save what's left. You earn money. It hits your account. You pay your bills. You spend on food, transportation, entertainment, subscriptions, coffees, random purchases that seemed reasonable in the moment. And then at the end of the month, whatever is left, if anything is left, goes to savings or investments. That's the mistake. And it sounds so innocent, so logical, so responsible even, that most people can't see why it's catastrophic. Here's why it's catastrophic. The human brain is not wired to have surplus. Psychologists call it Parkinson's law applied to finances. Expenses expand to meet available income. If you earn $5,000 a month and leave your savings to whatever survives your spending will consistently find a way to absorb $4,900 of it. Not because you're undisciplined, not because you're weak, because your brain is wired to treat available money as spendable money. That's it. That's the whole problem. The Goldman Sachs research on this is genuinely alarming. 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 report living paycheck to paycheck. 40% of those earning over $500,000 say the same. $500,000 a year, more income in a month than most Americans earn in a year. And they have no financial cushion. Because the mistake scales, lifestyle creep is not something that happens to broke people. It happens to everyone who runs the Save What's Left system. The number just gets bigger. Now here's where it gets personal. Because I'm not just talking about high earners, I'm talking about you. If you get paid, cover your expenses, and then think about saving, you're running the same system as the person earning $500,000 and wondering where it all went. You're just doing it at a smaller scale, and the result, compounded over decades, is the same. A lifetime of good income and almost nothing to show for it. The binary comparison, case studies. Let me introduce you to two people. I'm going to call them Danielle and Marcus. Same age, both 28. Both land jobs in the same city, same industry, earning $58,000 a year to start. Same background, no family wealth, no inheritance coming, both paying off student loans. From the outside, their financial lives are identical. By the time they're both 45, one of them has $340,000 in investments, a paid-off car, and the option to walk away from a job she hates. The other has $43,000 in a retirement account, $8,000 in credit card debt, and is genuinely afraid to check his bank account on the 25th of the month. Same starting line. 17 years, a $300,000 gap. What happened? Danielle did something the day she got her first paycheck that felt almost uncomfortable. She sat down with a spreadsheet and calculated the minimum she needed each month to live. Not lavishly, just functionally. Rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, her student loan minimum, a small buffer. She came up with $2,800. Her take-home pay was about $3,400 a month. She set up automatic transfers that moved $400 to a Roth IRA and $200 to a high-yield savings account the same day her paycheck hit her account. Not the day after. Not when she got around to it. The same day. She never saw that $600, her brain never counted it as available money, and she built her spending life around the $2,800 that remained. Was her life in those early years luxurious? No. Did she have roommates longer than she wanted to? Yes. Did she drive a paid-off 10-year-old Honda Civic while her colleagues were financing new cars? Absolutely. But she didn't experience this as deprivation because she'd never included those $600 in her mental budget of what she had to spend. Marcus did what felt more natural. He got his paycheck, paid his bills, figured he'd invest when he had more money, and spent what was left on the life he felt he'd earned after years of school and studying and grinding. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't buying luxury watches or taking first-class flights. He just lived. Nice apartment, newer car because his old one felt embarrassing, regular dinners out, streaming services, clothes, normal adult spending. And he told himself every single month that next month would be the month he'd start getting serious about savings. By 30, Danielle had $34,000 invested. Marcus had $6,000. By 35, Danielle had $112,000 invested. Marcus had $43,000. Same income, same city, same opportunities. One system, save first. One system, save what's left. The gap isn't the result of genius investing strategy. Danielle wasn't picking stocks or timing the market. She was buying boring index funds every single month and ignoring them. The gap is the result of one structural decision made at 28 and maintained for 17 years. And here's the part Marcus doesn't talk about at dinner parties. He doesn't understand how it happened. He makes good money now. They both got raises, promotions, career growth. Marcus earns $95,000 a year. He should feel wealthy. He doesn't, because his lifestyle inflated with every raise, and the Save What's Left system absorbed every single dollar of additional income before it could build anything. This is lifestyle creep on steroids. Not dramatic. Not obvious, just a steady invisible expansion of expenses to match every income increase, compounded over 17 years into a $300,000 gap that no amount of hustle can now fully recover. The reframing, unsexy math. Let me show you the math that Marcus never ran. Because if he had, he might have made a different choice. At 28, the average American spends somewhere between $200 and $400 per month on what I call invisible drains. The combination of subscriptions they barely use, impulse purchases they don't remember, food delivery premiums, upgraded plans they never downgraded from, and daily small purchases that don't register as financial decisions because each one is under $20. Let's be conservative. Let's say just $300 per month. $300 per month is $3,600 per year, invested at the historical average market return of 8% annually. Over 30 years, that $300 per month becomes $408,000. Not $3,600. $408,000. That's the number sitting behind your Uber Eats habit, behind the 4 streaming services you pay for and actually use one, behind the gym membership that auto-renews while you go twice a year, behind the subscription boxes that arrive and get opened with mild curiosity before living in your closet. This is what I mean when I say the mistake costs you more than you think. You're not just losing $300 per month, you're losing $408,000 over a working lifetime. And you're doing it on purchases you wouldn't even remember if someone asked you what you bought. Now let's talk about the car, because nothing illustrates this mistake more visibly than how Americans handle vehicles. The average new car payment is $772 per month. 1 in 5 people who bought a new car last year signed up for a payment exceeding $1,000 per month. Americans collectively owe $1.67 trillion in auto loan debt, more than student loan debt. And almost everyone treats this as completely normal. Here's what $772 per month actually costs you. $772 per month invested at 8% annual returns over 15 years. $270,000. You paid $139,000 in car payments, and that's before insurance, gas, registration, and maintenance on a vehicle that has been depreciating every single month since you drove it off the lot. You received a vehicle that's now worth maybe $12,000 to $15,000 if you're lucky. And you gave up $270,000 in potential investment wealth. That's not a car. That's a $270,000 decision. The dealership framed it as $772 a month. No one ever shows you the 30-year slide. And here's the thing about the car payment that nobody tells you. It's not just the money, it's what the money trains you to believe. When you finance a depreciating asset at $772 per month, you teach yourself that debt is normal, that payments are just part of adult life, that the question isn't, can I afford this car, but can I make this monthly payment? And that thinking, that payment-focused thinking instead of total cost thinking, bleeds into every other financial decision you make. The furniture gets financed, the vacation goes on a card, the kitchen renovation gets a home equity line. One by one, your future income gets committed to past purchases, and there's nothing left to build with. The Federal Reserve data confirms what this looks like in real life. 60% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. Not because they don't earn enough, because every dollar they earn is already spoken for, committed to monthly payments on things they bought on credit, inflated expenses that grew with their income, and a save what's left system that left nothing. The 8-4-3 rule. Here's what makes this mistake so particularly devastating. The math of compound interest is backloaded, meaning the growth feels invisible and almost fraudulent for years, and then it becomes extraordinary, but only if you stayed in. I want to explain something called the 8-4-3 rule because it will permanently change how you think about investment timelines. When you invest consistently, here's what the growth pattern actually looks like. Let's say you're investing $10,000 a year at a 12% average annual return. In the first 8 years, you'll go from zero to roughly $123,000. That feels underwhelming. You contributed $80,000 of your own money, and the market added about $43,000. In the next 4 years, years 9 through 12, your portfolio roughly doubles to about $241,000. In 4 years, the same progress that took 8 years before now took 4. In the 3 years after that, years 13 through 15, it jumps again to roughly $372,000. 3 years, more growth than in the entire first 8 years combined. 8 years, then 4 years, then 3 years. The same amount of doubling takes less and less time because the base is getting larger. This is the exponential curve that every financial textbook mentions, but almost no one viscerally understands until they see it applied to their own money. Here's the catastrophic implication of the save what's left system. Most people don't start investing meaningfully until they feel like they can afford to, which is often their mid-30s or 40s. By then, they've already missed the slowest, least satisfying part of the curve. But the slowest, least satisfying part of the curve is exactly where you have to start in order to access the explosive growth at the end. You can't skip to year 13, you have to earn it by surviving years 1 through 8. Marcus skipped years 1 through 8 because he was saving what was left, which was nothing. He's now at year 10, trying to build from a balance that should be at year 2. And no matter how hard he tries to catch up, he cannot buy back the compounding years he missed. Danielle understood, almost by instinct, that the money she invested at 28 would do more work for her than the money she invested at 38. Not a little more, roughly 7 times more by retirement. That's not motivation content, that's math. The step-by-step algorithm, the roadmap. So how do you fix it? How do you stop making this mistake, starting with your next paycheck? I'm going to give you a 5-step system, not a mindset shift, not a vague intention to be better with money. A structural system that removes your brain from the equation because your brain, as we've established, is not your friend when money is involved. Step 1, calculate your actual baseline, not your budget. Your baseline. Your baseline is the non-negotiable number, what it costs, minimum, to keep your life running. Rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, minimum debt payments, healthcare costs, nothing else. No restaurants, no entertainment, no streaming services, no clothing budget, just the hard floor. For most people, this number is 20 to 40% lower than what they actually spend. That gap is where your wealth is hiding. Step 2, set your savings percentage before you set your spending budget. This is the inversion that changes everything. Before you allocate a single dollar to discretionary spending, decide what percentage of your take-home pay is going to wealth building. Not a dollar amount, a percentage, because it automatically scales with income increases. The research on millionaire behavior is consistent. People who build significant wealth invest between 15 and 20% of their income before they budget anything else. They don't invest 15% of what's left. They invest 15% first, then they budget what remains. If 15% feels impossible right now, start with 5%. Automate it. Set up the transfer to happen the same day your paycheck arrives. Then increase it by 1 percentage point every 6 months. You will notice a dramatic difference in your account balance 5 years from now. Step 3, build your liquidity ladder. This is your emergency fund, but structured intelligently instead of just piling money into a checking account and hoping for the best. The first rung is your sleep well buffer, 1 month of expenses in your checking account. This prevents overdraft fees and the anxiety of a low balance. You don't optimize this money. You don't care about the return. It's grease for the engine. The second rung is your actual emergency fund. For most people, in 2000, this needs to be at least 6 months of expenses, preferably 12, not 3. The average job search now takes 4 to 8 months for professional positions. A 6-month emergency fund means you could run out of money before your first paycheck from the new job. Put this in a high-yield savings account earning 4% or better. Keep it completely separate from your spending account, different bank if necessary, no linked debit card. Make it slightly inconvenient to access, because inconvenience is the only thing standing between you and spending this money on something that doesn't qualify as an emergency. Liquidity is oxygen. Without it, every financial disruption becomes a catastrophe. With it, every disruption becomes an inconvenience. The third rung is your wealth engine, your tax-advantaged investment accounts. This is where actual wealth gets built. Step 4, maximize free money before anything else. If your employer offers a 401k match and you are not contributing enough to capture the full match, stop reading this right now and go fix that. The employer match is a guaranteed 50 to 100% return on your money before the market does anything at all. In 2026, the 401k contribution limit is $24,500. The IRA contribution limit is $7,500. If you have access to a health savings account through a high-deductible health plan, the HSA offers triple tax advantage. Contributions are tax-deductible, growth is tax-free, and withdrawals for medical expenses are tax-free. No other account on earth does all three. The priority sequence is employer match first, always, then HSA if eligible, then Roth IRA, then back to the 401k to increase contributions. VOU, VTI, VXUS. Expense ratios under 0.05%. No individual stocks, no actively managed funds charging 1% per year. The math on fees over a 30-year period is viscerally painful. A 1 percentage point difference in fees can cost you over $200,000. On a modest portfolio, boring builds wealth. Exciting strategies build regret. Step 5, automate everything, then live on what's left. This is the inversion made structural. You've calculated your baseline. You've set your savings percentage. You've established your liquidity ladder. Now automate every transfer. The emergency fund contribution, the 401k contribution, the IRA contribution. Set them all to execute the day your paycheck arrives. What remains in your checking account is yours to spend freely. You don't need guilt. You don't need discipline for individual spending decisions. The system already captured your wealth-building dollars. Whatever is left, you've earned the right to spend without anxiety. This is how Danielle lived for 17 years, not with white-knuckled discipline and daily sacrifice, with a system that ran automatically in the background while she lived her life. She didn't think about money every day because the money was already moving in the right direction, without her needing to think about it. Addressing the real objections, I want to take a minute to speak directly to the people who are going to hear all of this and immediately think, this doesn't apply to my situation. My income isn't high enough. My expenses are too high. I have student loans. I have kids. I have a mortgage. I can't save 15%. I hear you, and I want to be honest with you. The system I've described is harder to execute at lower incomes. The math is less forgiving when your baseline expenses eat 80% of your take-home pay. This is real. The idea that wealth building is equally accessible to everyone regardless of income is a comforting myth that I'm not going to sell you. But here's what I also know from 17 years of watching actual financial outcomes across every income level. The save what's left mistake is just as prevalent at $150,000 as it is at $50,000. Goldman Sachs found that 41% of people earning $300,000 to $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. The mistake scales. The fix also scales. If you can only start with 3%, if your emergency fund has to build from $500 instead of $5,000, build from $500 per month. Automate $100 per month. The specific dollar amount matters less than the structural shift from save what's left to save first, spend what remains. It's your income, and that deserves its own urgent attention through career development, skills investment, additional income streams, or geographic arbitrage. But for most people watching this, people with stable employment and middle-class incomes, the gap between what you earn and what you keep is not primarily an income problem. It's a system problem, and systems can be fixed. The real cost of waiting I want to close with something that I need you to sit with. Every month you run the Save What's Left system is a month of compound growth you cannot recover. Not because of some abstract future consequence, but because of a concrete, calculable number. A 30-year-old who starts investing $500 per month today will have approximately $744,000 by age 65, assuming 8% average returns. A 30-year-old who waits 5 years and starts investing $500 per month at 35 will have approximately $490,000 by age 65. Same monthly contribution. 5 years of delay, a $254,000 difference. That's the price of 5 years of I'll start next month. $250,000 lost to inertia. And here's the brutal part. Most people don't wait 5 years. They wait 10 or 15, or they make inconsistent starts and stops. Investing for a few months, stopping when money gets tight, never rebuilding the habit. Each gap is another chunk of compounding years that cannot be purchased back. The person you'll be at 65 is being built right now by the decisions you're making today, not by dramatic windfalls or lucky stock picks or a business that takes off, by the system you run with your next paycheck, and the paycheck after that, and the one after that. The choice is yours. So here's where we land. You are making this money mistake every month. If you're saving what's left, you're running a system designed to produce the median American retirement outcome, $87,000 saved after a lifetime of earning. And that's not a failure of intelligence or character. That's a failure of structure. The fix is not complicated. Calculate your baseline, set your savings percentage first, automate everything before the money has a chance to disappear into the gap between paychecks. Build your liquidity ladder. Stop optimizing for the appearance of financial success and start building actual financial security. 2 people, same salary, same city, same opportunities. One saves first, one saves what's left. 17 years later, one has $340,000 and options. One has $43,000 and anxiety. The difference isn't discipline, it's structure, and structure is a decision you can make today. Your next paycheck is either going to arrive and get absorbed into the same system that has produced the same result month after month, or it's going to be the paycheck where something changes. The choice is entirely yours, and you're making it right now, whether you realize it or not. Your future self is watching.